general, if you have any questions, any doubts how to approach the paper, and you have any suggestions about what this paper was and how do you perceive it, you can discuss.
Amit, I wanted to ask a very common doubt which people have, that for
Yes, sir.
example, if there are questions in compulsory section about which you do not know the answer, how can you write some points at least so that you can get a few marks in them rather than leaving the question completely?
Yes, sir. Sir, there are two things. One is knowing the answer, and other is not knowing the answer. If we know the answer, what we know we can write. If we don't know the answer, then we should know that which topic at least that subject topic is related to. Let's talk about the question which we had in stereoscopic and its impact in photo aerial interpretation. So if
Yes.
I'm not aware of what stereoscopy is, but if they're asking the next topic is photo interpretation, then at least I know that the second part, this is somehow related to our remote sensing and is going to help in photo interpretation. Then based on that application of knowledge, I can write something about photo interpretation. And stereoscope is something which we can also study in structural geology. I know what a stereoscope is and how it can be applied to photo interpretation. So I will link both of them, write about both of them. And what I know is photo interpretation. So I will focus much more on photo interpretation. So what we know, we do not have to write wrong answers. We have to write facts only. But sometimes fact is something which we would not know. So nearest fact we can write in those answers.
So what I conclude is that rather than leaving it completely, the nearest possible answer which you can relate to the question, you should write that at least.
Yes, sir.
All right. So to everyone, Amit is here and you can ask your doubts regarding the paper. Don't go into the technical details of the answer. We will discuss them separately, but overall strategy for the paper or subject, if you want to ask, you can ask to him.
Hi, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, you are audible.
Sir, I wanted to ask that there is a question regarding Equiday 6A.
Yeah.
So if such questions occur, so there are some notes given by you that I follow. So there is a table written about the Equiday. Is it okay if I directly draw such tables? And actually, I feel that there is a little content would be added. So I'm not from geology background. I'm not able to add the content.
Yeah. Just write a 3-4 line introduction in general about evolution of Equiday. That Equiday started from this time and their evolution went through this and this phases in which the major changes were this and this. Then you draw the table, and then also I think if I remember Equiday, there are 2-3 images which have been given. That some changes in the bones and some change in the toe which has gone through. Then make those diagrams and then explain them. I see the issue is if you are given the Equiday question, there are only 2 pages which you have been given to answer that question. So in 2 pages, you have to write the answer also. If you draw the table, you have 1 page. But the table is comprehensive. At least the examiner knows that you know this. Before that, 3-4 lines, if you write the proper introduction about the general changes that have gone through and 3-4 diagrams, you will not have any more space to write the answer. So we have also to think about the space constant that we go through for writing the answer.
Okay, sir. Thank you. The same happens with all the foraminifera and everything.
Yes. Exactly. Sometimes we know we can write more. Sometimes we feel that answer is incomplete, but we do not have the space and time. So there are space and time constraints in writing this paper.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Please go on. Any other questions?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dinesh Verma. Sir, I'm doing PhD in petroleum engineering from ISN.
Okay.
Sir, I have very less exposure to the geology. Till now, I have been exposed with the geologist classes of Jigasu sir and little more yours. From the first paper, I abhi tak 30% of questions I can attempt it. And right now 70% are need to be covered by me. Now the prelims has been come closer to us, and now I need a strategy that how can I cover my optional before the prelims. along with that, so that I can clear the prelims, and meanwhile during the prelims and mains, how should I approach my geology subject to cover in a holistic way?
Dinesh, in next, what I would say, few months, like Jan and Feb, Jan nearly is gone, and Feb. So take out 45 days. In 45 days, your main focus would be your optional subject. And you should give most of your time, or I will say 80% of your time on an optional, and only 20% of your time on the preparation of prelims. And then by March, you decrease it. You do it 50-50, 50% optional and 50% your prelims aspect.
Yes.
Then after that, till April and May, when is your prelims? Which month?
Sir, June.
Okay. So which June?
8th of June. I hope so.
Okay. Okay. So till April, then you focus on. Then by April also you can have 10% as a revision of geology and rest as your GS. Then you can leave geology in May and completely focus on your prelims. But before that, at least now till March, try to cover as much as possible. And then you can leave a few months, like 1 month, for your what I would say revision aspect.
Sir, I have one more question. Sir,
Yeah.
when should we start writing the answer? Means because I am a working professional, I have to go to lab and perform experiment also, and I'm devoting 6 hours a day, and a little time crunch is there. So should I focus now only to grasp the concept right now, and after that in prelims, after prelims I should focus on answer writing, or should I start from now?
Absolutely, you can do that. It's different people have different answers. It all depends on you. I never wrote a single answer before prelims. I wrote every answer after mains, after prelims only, in both my attempts. And there are people who write answers from day one. They also qualify, and those also do not write qualify. It all depends on final output that you are going. Doesn't matter. You can definitely go after prelims. I went after prelims.
Sir, in 6B question, can we have a little exposure, because
Yes, we are going to discuss the answers in detail afterwards. Right now, you just ask the strategy related question to Amit because he has some time crunch. So we should utilize the time he's providing us.
Okay.
We will discuss each answer in detail after this. Yes, Shashikant, you wanted to ask something, I think.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Good evening, Amit sir.
Good evening.
Sir, actually, I was new to the geology because my background is mining, and I started 3-4 months ago studying geology, and now I am well aware with the what subjects demand and all the nitty and gritty of the subject. I am also able to assess the need of the question. So this is the periphery that I have explored in these 2-3 months. I am also watching your video. 3-4 units I have completed. So, sir, my question is that how should I? Sometime I face that I have little knowledge about the question. I have conceptual idea of the question, but I do not have so much content about the question. So, how can I write the answer in that scenario that I can compete with the student who is particularly from the geology background? So, this is the problem I am facing, sir. So, please give some insight on this.
So again, now in 2 and 3 months into the subject, you are if you're saying that you are comfortable with 3-4 units, that more than sufficient. If going ahead, you will become more and more confident, and subject will become easy for you then. And now you would not be able to correlate between topics. And as the time grows on, when time for your mains comes, by that time 6-7 months more would have elapsed. By that time, definitely you will be able to correlate between the topics. And once you are able to correlate between the topics, when I say between topics, let's say I'm saying you are able to correlate what is hydrogeology and geomorphology, how geomorphology is linked to hydrogeology. If you are able to correlate with these two, the content will automatically increase. you will be able to know how to fit a content of hydrogeology into an answer of geomorphology and still using all the basic aspects of geomorphology. So this understanding has to come. Once the interrelation between these topics of geology you are able to do, then you don't need any extra content from anywhere. The content which we have studied in the other chapters of geology, you will be able to use here. So just go on, you complete all the units, and after all the units, if you have studied thoroughly, you will be able to correlate. The entire use of our lectures, what I took earlier and what Jigasha sir is taking now, is that you are able to understand the correlation between different topics. Once you do that, you are self-independent to understand geology, basically. You will be able to do it very easily. So just go slowly, you will be able to do it.
Yes, sir. Actually, your video is helping a lot, sir. And one thing, sir, actually, what I was asking. Okay, I will come later. Sir.
Sure.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I want to know, sir, I'm new to geology, means I don't have geology as my background. So, sir, from your notes, is it sufficient or should I look around for other sources? Means I want to know, because I've done two short topics. I've done general geology and mineralogy. So in general, I want to know, sir, is your notes 4 books that you have, sir, available, which we have purchased, is it enough or should I go for another as a topic wise, sir?
You are taking video lectures also or only notes?
No, sir. No, sir. Only notes, sir. Only notes, sir, I've taken.
Or if you're taking only notes, then you would have to go through a few books also, because notes are notes. They're not self-independent. At least you will have to understand the concept from the books, and then notes are there to help you to write a good answer. So take help from the basic geology books, and then you go through the notes. So at least you will have a good idea, because see, notes would be sufficient for someone who is from a geology background or who has studied geology. Then notes come. But who is completely new, because notes are not something which are like a speaking subject. Books are speaking. Speaking in nature means one line relates to another to another. Notes are something topic wise. So though you will be able to score, but you will not be able to understand a few things. So first go through basic books and then use notes as complementary. And then after sometimes leave the books and notes will be sufficient.
Okay, sir. Sir, and one more thing, sir. Does PYQ of civils and forest coincide in terms of preparation? If we can do both, or should we only focus on civils only? Because I'm focusing on IFOS also. So do the previous year of IFOS as well as civils repeat in inter subject wise? That's what I want to know, sir.
Yeah, they would repeat, but in forest you will have to take another optional. So there it will be hard. That another optional finishing, like let's say, what will be another optional? Agriculture or forestry or something from technical?
Yes, sir. Forestry, yes, sir.
Exactly. So completing that also in time, yeah, it is possible. It's not something, because most people have done that way only. But you will have to put a lot of effort after mains to go to forest mains. But geology wise, yeah, it would be perfect. Like at least most of the question will be covered. Forest has few extra topics, but which are already, I think you have already covered it. It's not something which is completely out of the syllabus.
Okay.
One thing I would like to add here is that to that answer is that yes, there is a lot of overlap between the questions that are asked in civil services and forest services. So if you cover one of them, you can be assured that 80%, 70% of the other paper you will be covering. So that is one comfort zone that is here.
So I would take one more question. I think then I will have to leave. So one last question.
One last question.
Sir. Hello, sir.
So may I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Go on.
Sir, I wanted to ask a question regarding prelims preparation. Sir, I have given 2 times prelims, but I faltered in prelims. So I'm a little bit concerned about prelims. So can you share something about the prelims that we should do? Like I should
prelims. Prelims for me was continuous revision. I revised a lot, and in last 2 months I only did test papers. So one test paper I would take 10 hours, because there would be 70 questions at least in one out of 100 questions which I would not know. So I would focus on those 70 questions, Google the answer and many things. So it's all about revision. Revise as much as possible. Do not take any new topics in the last 2 months, and focus on concise materials. Make your material as concise as possible. least diversion, most concise materials, and revise as much as possible. And try to give as many tests as possible in simulated test environments, where you can know that how you will be able to respond in those 2 hours if the questions comes. And that's it. And different people have different strategy. Just focus on your strengths and go through it. But just keep these things in mind: revise, minimum content, and maximum efficiency.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you all. It was a short session, and at least we could discuss basic geology trend. And thank you, Jigasu sir, also for hosting me. And he will be going through details of each of the questions, and stick to him, and you will be able to know and get the clear subject. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amit. Thank you so much for giving us
Thank you, Amit.
Precious time. So yeah, now we are going to go into the details of the discussion of the paper. I have prepared one particular slide with respect to this, in which we are going to cover the questions which are a little bit complex in nature, or which require a little bit more insight than usual. All right, so that's what we are going to cover. Can anyone confirm, is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes.